Let me tell you a story. So there's this guy in Singapore, Christopher Long, and when he's 10, he's collecting all of these retro robots. Several years later, he's feeling nostalgic. He wants to see his old toy again, just to remember that childlike joy that he experienced before getting thrown into the harsh reality of adult life, as we all do. But he can't find these robots. They've stopped manufacturing them. In fact, the last few remaining in the world are demanding exorbitant prices because they've suddenly become extremely collectible. Now, instead of crying about the whole thing, Chris did something rather daring. With the help of Azimuth, his co-founded watch brand, he recreated the robot in an acceptable form for an adult to enjoy without being judged. And what's more acceptable for adults to enjoy than luxury timepieces? And so, Mr. Roboto was born. Tim Mossa described this timepiece as a watch for the 40-year-old version of your 80-year-old self. And that's exactly what the Mr. Roboto feels like. Only it's not made for an 80-year-old. It's made for a responsible adult who can once in a while afford to splurge 10 grand on a watch without breaking the bank. In 2003, right around when independent watch brands like H. Moser, MB&F, and Greubel Forsey took the watch industry by storm, Christopher Long and Giuseppe Picchi joined forces to begin their very own brand called Azimuth, making it one of the first independent watch brands of Singapore. Today, of course, the watches are made entirely in Switzerland, while the logistical side of the business operates out of Singapore. The 100-piece limited edition features a 42.6 by 49.5mm bronze case with a thickness of 19.5mm and a lug-to-lug of 50mm. Combining that with the fact that this comes in a tonneau-shaped case, it's not a small watch that you can hide under the cuff. Thanks to the rapid patina of the bronze case, the watch brings forward a retro steampunk theme which is only increased by having exposed bolts and brushed finishing throughout the case. This could easily be both a watch from the future but also from the past. That's what's fascinating about it. The versatility of its aesthetics in terms of what it can be. But the real fun starts when you try to read the face, which in this case displays the time. Definitely not the most orthodox approach to traditional time telling, but that's the fun. Beneath the 3 windows covered by individually domed sapphire crystals, you're able to stare into Mr. Roboto's soul, if it even exists, to read the different mechanically powered functions. The right window, or the eye in this case, gives you an hour track that can be used as a second time zone, while the left eye displays the local time. Both eyes feature hour tracks that you can choose to either synchronize, which won't have any functional benefit, or you can utilize the isolation of both hour windows to track 2 separate time zones as originally intended. The mouth of Mr. Roboto displays a retrograde minute track that is tracked with the help of a red minute hand, which of course adds to the legibility. And in place of a seconds hand, a rotating red 3-pointed star acts as an indicator to tell that the movement is running. Although the Azimuth caliber is an automatic movement, it can be wound manually through a bronze crown which incidentally resembles a key, which is a clever nod to the keys that powered the robot toys back in the day. And when the night is dark and full of terrors, the dial behind the dome sapphire window lights up incredibly thanks to the generous amount of luminescent material both painted and applied throughout the dial. Through the Sapphire Exhibition case pack, you can see the Azimuth 1500-2 automatic caliber that is based on the modified ETA 2836-2. This is a solid, tried and tested movement that beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour and is equipped with 36 hours of power reserve when fully wound. But Azimuth wouldn't be what it is by simply dropping a ready-made, off-the-shelf movement inside one of their most advanced timepieces and calling it a day. No, this movement has been heavily modified by Azimuth's watchmakers with not just an aesthetic modification like a custom decorated rotor, but by equipping the base caliber with a tailor-made in-house module that enables all of the functions that Mr. Roboto carries. Well, this all sounds very impressive, but that price tag of nearly $7,000 is no easy pill to swallow. But to answer that, let's look at this objectively. Imagine if Azimuth had developed in-house movements for their highly limited complicated watches. My guess is that we wouldn't be looking at a price tag of $7,000, but instead somewhere around $20,000 or $30,000. Because developing complicated movements from scratch isn't cheap. Manufacturing a movement costs money, a lot of money. And to pay off the bank loans, the watch brands would then have to charge the customer exorbitant prices. This wouldn't be an Azimuth anymore. A truly unique timepiece with high complications in an original design and a deep story. It would then sit several price brackets above where it sits today. By using a tried and tested caliber and adding exclusive functional upgrades to it in order for it to act like a $30,000 watch while costing way less, seems like a true bargain at this point. At 50mm lug-to-lug, this is by no means a small and subtle watch. It's hardly a watch at this point. This watch will grab attention, but in a good way, in an endearing way. You want to show off this watch. Not because of its prestige or price tag, but for what it represents. And that to me is priceless. Let me know in the comments what watch reminds you of your childhood. And please do me a solid and hit that like and subscribe button as it really helps. Also, do check out Red Army Watches Malaysia for more fun and underrated watch brands. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the next one.